A pleasure to meet all at last, and here we are once again with animals of all sorts. So now we do have ourselves number 2791. Yeah, getting pretty close to 2800, which is quite a large amount of episodes worth working with, and of course, worth having a lot of subjects worth putting together. So, I got gorillas in line for the next subject of HJN. Well, it's good that I get to talk a bit about the primates selection worth of animals, because while I will have a lot to say about certain species like the chimpanzee, the baboon, or the siamang gibbons, the gorillas, on the other hand, are known to be very popular in a number of different ways. First of all, there's a good variety of different gorillas worth looking out for, such as the silverbacks. But the gorillas are in fact huge, as primates not only well known for their intelligence, their ability to speak sign language, for instance. That alone is pretty talented. They, of course, are also known to be quite famous for the usage of simple tools. Yeah, you'd ever think that a gorilla wouldn't become a handyman working on home improvement? Well, apparently they can do just that. And it takes a bit of time to figure that part out. And more importantly, it's not nearly as impressive as what anybody here would accomplish, but still, many people find it to be pretty appealing just for the fact that it's a fellow primate doing the same sort of things that humans can do, but in a bit of a primitive fashion. So, not necessarily nearly as impressive. If you consider a gorilla to build a house, you probably wouldn't be nearly as ambitious as anything that persons can put together. But on the other hand, you can always look at many other things worth looking into for the gorillas. As, like many animals I've talked about, they have a pretty diversified diet just as well. There's a lot of different fruits and vegetables that they're known to eat, and some meats just as well. As primates, like humans, are known to have a pretty omnivorous diet, just as well, for the fact that meat and vegetables are always a good thing to have in your diet, whether it be because of the pyramids or because of other things correlating to diet and how nutritional value is quite important in our daily lives. But I feel like that if there's one real big thing worth pointing out is the fact that the gorillas and their intelligence really shows for it when it comes to talking about media of all sorts. Everybody knows about the giant-sized gorilla known as King Kong, who's almost a century old, by the way. But we could also talk about various other gorillas out there. Mighty Joe Young, for instance, which was actually put together by the same creative team as King Kong back in the days of RKO, when it was all stop-motion black and white stuff with all kinds of crazy pioneering techniques that they pulled off back in the day. And it was unbelievable what they were able to do. The expressions of the apes themselves, the armature that allowed for stop motion to take place, and of course the unique backgrounds that were all crafted by hand. Of course, with King Kong and its sequel, Son of Kong, which both came out within a full year of time, Mighty Joe Young took a pretty long time to eventually come around, but when it did, in 1949, it also was quite a hit. So much so, many people not only thought of it as a rip-off of King Kong, but probably the best kind of rip-off that could have possibly existed. It also was rebooted, believe it or not, much like King Kong was, in 1998. I'm sure that it could be rebooted yet again, for the fact that gorilla-based animation has seen a lot of growth over the years. You don't believe me? Well, we could check out the Disney movie in 2020 that came out. It starred a unique gorilla, and it also starred a bunch of other talking animals. Yeah. I will say, though, that while gorillas have been famous on media of all sorts, it's still important to note that they are quite a big step up from a majority of certain animals within the kingdom entirely. And it's mostly for the fact that their intelligence crazily outshines that of a lot of different other animals out there. Apart from their brain size and skull capacity and a number of other factors that make them similar enough to be much like us, we see gorillas as quite similarly as we might see the lion in comparison to the cat, or the fox in comparison to the dog. So you could say that the connections between different animal species correlating to the same class of animals, the class of which that pertains to all the species that are generally put within it, whether it be felines, primates, marsupials, it doesn't really matter all that much. We all know that there is at least one given characteristic about every single class of animal out there. With primates, they're shown to be among the most intelligent out of all species ever in zoological history. Well, I'm pretty sure that that's good enough for me to talk about here. And so, while I will have more worth talking about regarding HJN, and of course with other things as well, there's plenty of animal species worth talking about here that I still got on this list. But as we go further into it, we're still going to have a lot more to cover here. So, 8 episodes to go, as it shows. But I will see you guys tomorrow for more HJN content, and of course for more animals.